Hey there, and thanks for checking out another one of our first fives. Today we continue on in the book of John with chapter 6. So let's take a look at verses 25 through 40. Now this is taking place just as Jesus fed the 5,000 with a couple fish and some loaves of bread. And so after this, part of the crowd went looking for Jesus. And so it continues like this in verse 25. When they found him on the other side of the lake, they asked him, "Rabbi, when did you get here?" Jesus answered, "I tell you the truth. You are looking for me not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. On him God the Father has placed his seal of approval." Then they asked him, "What must we do to do the works God requires?" Jesus answered, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent." So they asked him, "What miraculous sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you? What will you do? Our forefathers ate the manna in the desert, as it is written, 'He gave them bread from heaven to eat.'" Jesus said to them, "I tell you the truth, it is not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." "Sir," they said, "from now on give us this bread." Then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never be thirsty. But as I told you, you have seen me, and still you do not believe. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never drive away. For I have come down from heaven not to do my will, but to do the will of him who sent me. And this is the will of him who sent me, that I shall lose none of all that he has given me, but raise them up to the last day. For my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son and believes in him shall have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day." So, has anyone ever asked you, "Do you know so-and-so?" And maybe you go, "Well, I've heard of them, but I don't really know them, or I know about them, but I haven't really had any experiences with them." See, there's something different between knowing who someone is and actually knowing them. You know what I'm talking about? The same is true about Jesus. We can know who Jesus is without actually knowing him. And I think that's what Gospel of John is all about. John really doesn't want us to know facts about Jesus. He wants us to know him. So the crowd is on the search to find Jesus because he just gave them what they wanted. He fed them. This solved a problem for many of the people in the crowd. Bread was expensive, and so by providing them with this food source, it was super important. And that's kind of how many people, probably even us at times, approach Jesus. We have a problem, and Jesus can help us solve that problem. But I think what John is trying to convey and what Jesus is trying to say in verse 35, he says, "I am the bread of life." That means he's like not just meant to be a problem solver, but he's the solution. He is the bread, the substance that we need. Jesus is the perfect supply of what we need. He's saying, "I'm not just a quick fix to fill your stomach when you're hungry, but I'm the lifelong solution that will sustain you long term, forever. I'm all you need." And just like we so often do in verse 28, the crowd asks, "So what do we need to do?" And again, Jesus answers, "It's not about what you can do, it's about who you believe in." He says in verse 29, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one who sent you," or to believe in the one he has sent. And ultimately, we have to find our satisfaction, our sustenance, not in what we do, but who God is. What God really intends for us to do is to come to the table just as we are, with everything that we are, and fill ourselves with the bread of life. He wants us to feast on who he is. We don't want to just know who Jesus is, but we want to encounter him as the Son of God and the hope that he brings, not as a problem solver, but as the full solution. So would you go today and know that Jesus is the bread of life and that he is enough to fill us and to sustain us? Have a great day.